For the entire law is fulfilled in this one command. Love your neighbor as yourself. Galatians 5:14. Hello, my name is Troy Beans with 78freethrows.com. You know, we often hear about loving your neighbor and who your neighbor is and how do we love our neighbor. How often do we talk about loving ourselves? And if we really can't love ourselves, how in the world are we going to love our neighbor? The reality is we really aren't. And you know, we're getting towards the end of January, and for those of you who have New Year's resolutions that are long gone, back to the same old, the mundane, and you know, well, I wanted to change, but, you know, and there's a few of you that you're sticking with it. Your life is starting to change. You're making a difference. And if that's you, man, I commend you. Stay with it. Don't give up. It's worth it. It's worth the effort. It's worth the time. But to love yourself, 4 ways to love yourself. Love yourself physically. Love yourself emotionally. Love yourself intellectually. And to love yourself spiritually. Today, I'm going to focus in on the physical. Because the reality of it is, loving yourself physically is the foundation to the other 3. And what do I mean by that? Our physical selves. Obviously, if my heart's not beating, I can't do the other 3. Now, it's an extreme example. But true. If my brain's not working, I can't do the other 3. Well, all of us, our heart's beating and our brain's working because we're watching this video. But how about if I'm impaired? How about if my body's not working at its optimum? And, you know, we live in an evil world and accidents happen and, you know, that stuff happens. We get sick. There's lots of things that can happen. But how about the things we can control? How about the things we have some power over? We stop and think about, what can I do physically to make sure I can love myself emotionally, that I can make sure I love myself intellectually, so that I make sure I can understand who God is in the spiritual realm. I got to take care of this physical body. Now, I was a PE teacher for 20 years, and no, I'm not going to go out and make you run laps. Just the fact that I said I was a PE teacher probably made some of you break out in a cold sweat. And you're like, I ain't going to go out and exercise. I don't want to do that. And some of you do it every day, and you love it. All of us are different. But to take care of yourself physically, there's no question the body is made that when we push it, we stretch it, we work it harder than we normally do, it responds and becomes stronger. And so the idea of 20 to 30 minutes of exercise, getting your heart rate up 3 to 4 times a week, extremely helpful, extremely healthy, makes everything else work so much better. And sleep. Something as just basic as sleep. You know, I know there's a lot of you out there, yeah, I do great on 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night. Yeah, maybe you do. And I was one of those for a very long period of time. And I was wrong. I wasn't doing well on 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night. Wasn't anywhere near my potential. Wasn't anywhere near what I could have been for hours during the day if I'd have gotten extra sleep. So, no, I wasn't as good emotionally, I wasn't as good intellectually, and I clearly wasn't as good spiritually. You know, a few other little things, drinking water. Again, for years, I neglected just good, fresh H2O. And again, sometimes we take that for granted, or, well, I drink all these other things. Well, you can do that. But I know my life changed when I started waking up in the morning and I started drinking about a 15 to 16 ounce glass of water. First thing in the morning. That alone made a huge difference in the way my life worked physically throughout the day. Now, I've even taken that a step further. I drink somewhere between 80 and 100 ounces a day. Feel so much better, have so much more energy. Physically, I'm better off. Therefore, I can do the other three so much better. So we take care of ourselves and we exercise a little bit. We get our sleep. We get our water intake. And those things seem minor. They seem small. But how many of us actually neglect that? And the last thing, just quickly, is food. Now, most people love food and they can't wait to go eat here or there. And I'll have to admit, I'm one of those weird people that I don't think about food a whole lot. And it's not something that I'm real passionate about. But it's very important what I eat and how I eat. It's very important that you go out and you educate yourself. Some of you may know all kinds of things about nutrition. Some of you may know very little. My parents gave me a priceless gift when it came to food. One that you just can't put a price on. I was raised a vegetarian. I have never eaten meat. And I know for you meat eaters, you're turning the thing off like, that guy's nuts. I love my meat. I get that. I understand that. I'm almost 52 years old. Resting heart rate at about 52. I go to the doctor and then, man, you're really healthy. Go to the eye doctor. Your eyes are really healthy. Go to the dentist. Teeth are really healthy. Hear that over and over and over again. Or have people say, man, you do not look your age. Now, I'm getting gray. So I clearly, personally think I look my age. But to have the vitality and the energy that I have, and to feel as good as I do, is a testament to what my parents gave me. It's powerful. Very, very powerful. And as I've lived life, and how do I live life better? Just going to throw a couple things out there I do. You can do whatever you want to do. About 15 years ago, I just quit drinking milk. Just kind of heard some things. Maybe it's not the best for you. On a whim, I just stopped. 2 months later, I knew there was no way in the world I'd go back to drinking milk. I felt so much better. I've had student after student, as I just tell that story and leave it alone, come back to me a couple months, a year later, Coach, I quit drinking milk. Man, I feel better. Then I read the China Study. Outstanding book, an amazing book, scientifically based. I finished that book. I said, man, I got to be vegan. And I really can't say I'm vegan. I tell people, really, I'm vegetarian. I eat probably an 80-90% vegan diet. Because there's days I'm eating out somewhere and, I eat something that has eggs in it, or I get milk every once in a while from somewhere. But at home, I'm pretty much 100% vegan. Again, I feel good. I really feel good. To love oneself physically. And the last thing I'm going to say here, we so often, what happens to our New Year's resolutions or anything when we say, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, and then it really doesn't. It comes down to one thing. We as humans are masters at putting the blame on something or someone else. We really don't take responsibility for ourselves. We say, well, you don't know my wife. You don't know my husband. You don't know my kids. You don't know the work environment I'm in. I had to. And we blame. When you stop, you can't really ever love yourself till you stop. Look in the mirror and take full responsibility for your sleep, for the amount of water you drink, for the amount of exercise you get, and for what you eat. and for how you love yourself. If you're blaming somebody else, you will never get to where you want to be. When you take full responsibility and understand it's not their problem and it's not their fault if you're not getting what you need. I know that's a strong statement. I know there's a lot of powerful forces out there. But if you really want to make improvements this year, and you really want to know what it's like to love yourself, start first with taking responsibility to how you handle life physically. It's been great talking with you. I hope you have a fabulous day. I hope you love yourself in amazing ways. Again, you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon.